Welcome back to What's on My Needles, and this week we are going to continue to work on our little Stuffie. Um, as warned in the last video, I did go ahead and do the tunic off camera, so I just had a needle holding the tunic on. So the tunic is knit over, or was knit separate from the body. I've just slid it onto the body, so I still need to weave in all of its ends, but other than that, it is all the way done. So the next part is to actually go into the armholes and pick up around the arms to make their little sleeves and little arms. And then I will be working on the head. So that should take us to the end of this video and the end of this little critter. So let me get set up and I'll be right back. If you would like to help fund this page, please find me on Patreon at Theatrical Crafts. So here I am ready to pick up the stitches for the arm. Now I've partially stuffed in and I've put the little tunic on, and I'm actually going to knit the arm with the tunic in place, even though I need to go back through and sew all the ends in, because I know even if I can't get the tunic all the way off, I can in fact get to the inside well enough to be able to weave in all those ends. Okay, so I'm just going to loop the yarn around the tip of my needle, that is through the first slip stitch on the back. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I do a reverse E cast on rather than picking up a second stitch through the same slip stitch. 1, 2, yeah, 2, 3. So I'm going for 15 stitches. 2, 4, 5. So another reverse E. 1, 2, 3. So, and that's just to switch needles. So now I need to have 4 stitches, but I only got 2 there. So what I'm going to do is pick up one more stitch here, making sure I've got the right end and I haven't split my yarn anywhere, which, yes, it happens a lot. Then I'm going to knit that stitch and knit the second stitch on here, and I'm going to take the stitch holder out. Normally I would put that on a double pointed needle ahead of time, but just decided to be a little different today. And these are locking stitch markers. I used to use bobby pins all the time, and then I found ways to get these cheaper than I could get bobby pins. And I'm just pushing all of those ends to the inside because the neck is still open, so I will be able to go through and pick up all the stitches there. And I'm going to pick up one last stitch. So that gives me the 15 around for the arm. So now from here, I'm going to knit down 16 rows, or a total of 16 rows, including this pickup row, in this green, and then I'm going to pick up some black for the hand. So I will be back in a little bit. I'm also deciding if I'm going to do short rows or not, and I think the answer is yes, so I'm actually going to do that instead. So again, just pulling that first stitch tight. So I'm going to work up, up and over So I'm not going to do that many short rows. I'm just going to do a couple. Mostly because I know I don't like dealing with it when it's a reversey. So I just wrapped that stitch. And I just realized that I did it backwards. So I wrap it out of habit, like I bring the yarn to the front first. In reality, it's supposed to be bring the yarn to the front. So slip the stitch, bring the yarn to the front, slip it back, and then move the yarn back to the wrong side of the work. Because I've gotten used to just dealing with the fact that my stitches are a little weird, I don't actually mind doing it wrong. I will just go back through and fix it. So I'm just going to do 4 stitches that are short rows just to give it a little bit more normal look to a shoulder rather than the T shape that not doing short rows would do. And yes, there's too many needles yet again, but that's okay. So now that I've reworked this one, I'm going to pull the loop over, knit into that loop, then wrap the last stitch on the needle, and purl back. And then do virtually the exact same thing on the other side. And then after that, it will just be work around hiding those wraps on the following row. So again, I'm going to knit for a total of 16 rows, and then I will go ahead and make the hand, and then I will work on the second sleeve. So I will be back in a little bit to show parts of the head, so I will be back in just a bit. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe to these social media platforms. Links will be provided in the description below. So it's time for me to start embroidering the little face on this little guy. So as I mentioned before, I chose not to make this little critter a human just because human faces are really hard to do, and I really didn't want to make hair. So instead I'm making a kitty cat. So I've got a seam, and I'm not sure how well or quote seam. I've got a dart line, more or less. That's right here. So what I'm doing is I'm going up in between those stitches to make the nose. I think I'm actually going to go up one more stitch. Then I'm going to go up to there. I'm going to sew across and then sew back down. Then I'm going to back stitch to where, for the little split in the lip. Now I need to decide where I'm going to put the lower lips. So I think I'm going to put them there. And then I'm going to try to match it on the other side. So we've got a little nose and a little mouth with the split in the middle. Now, because this is being given to an adult, and because this is not something that is planned to be washed, I'm just going to tie a square knot on the back. When the yarn color is this drastically different from the surrounding colors, I typically choose not to weave in the ends, quote, correctly, because it becomes very visible. Then I'm just going to trim it, not super short so it doesn't come untied, but short enough that it's not going to get in the way. So now I need to put on the eyes, and then I'll do a similar stitching to go around the eyes in white to make them a little bit bigger, because I'm just going to use beads for the irises. And then I'll be working up towards the ears and the hat. And then this little fella will be all done. It's going to take a while for this guy to make it up on Instagram, because it actually needs to make it to their owner first. And then they will end up on Instagram. So I will see you next time on What's on My Needles, when we start working on something new. Bye.